USA, born and raised, gonna do it our way. Freedom ain't a dream, it's a long stretch of highway. It's the thrill of the road, the facing the wind. It's where you're going, not where you've been. Let's ride, saddle up American style. Let's ride, rebel free, fast and wild. Life's more fun when you live it while you're alive. So let's ride.
I would summarize West Coast Thunder by saying that it is a celebration of Memorial Day, motorcycles being the theme, but West Coast Thunder represents Memorial Day and what it stands for.
It's not just about barbecuing on Monday afternoon, but it's about honoring our veterans.
This has grown tremendously. It's just an honor to be riding with you and an honor to have this dealership pull this together. Thanks, and look forward to riding with all of you.
Thank you so much.
We do all of this to raise money for the Riverside National Cemetery Support Committee. This is to support all of the veterans. If I look back on how it all started, it's a great story.
Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Riverside is part of the Inland Empire in Southern California. There is a huge Air Force base here. The community has strong ties to the military. It's a beautiful place. The Day of West Coast Thunder is something we look forward to all year.
Yeah, West Coast Thunder is the West Coast version of what happens on the East Coast on Memorial Day. The evolution of West Coast Thunder is it's a good story. We started off with a few people, went to a local event at the Riverside National Cemetery.
13 years ago, just a small group of us decided to ride on Memorial Day.
When we got to the cemetery, the atmosphere was overwhelming with patriotism.
It's really incredible to see all the American flags on the lawns and the beautiful green grass.
That's how it was born that day, and it was, I guess in some respects, a life-changing experience when I look at 13 years later.
We felt very good about being there that day and all got our ideas together about maybe making this an actual yearly event. That's when we contacted Jay Dabney here at Skip Fordyce.
He thought it was a fabulous idea, and so we ran with it.
Started having meetings, got the chapter involved.
I think the first year was only a couple hundred motorcycles, and it was fun.
The second year we got premier kind of coverage in the newspaper and a couple things like that.
In the early days, we would go to the Citrus Park and have basically a picnic lunch, but we started outgrowing the city parks.
Each year, West Coast Thunder grows, so we continued to go on and move on.
The chapter has gotten behind West Coast Thunder 110%.
And having grown up in Riverside, there's never been anything like this for, to honor vets. So we felt like we'd done something really important.
There's really nothing else on the West Coast that gives you an opportunity as a veteran or a non-veteran to support the people that fight for our freedom.
People come from Nevada, Arizona, just to be at this event because they can't make the ride to the wall either. So now they have something that's close that they can participate in.
West Coast Thunder has been a continuing success from day one, primarily because of the day that it happens on, which is Memorial Day, and the purpose, which is to celebrate our fallen brothers and soldiers and really be able to show support on that day.
We start this event about 4 a.m. in the morning, and we run it all day long.
Everybody's here really early, and you can see the motorcycles lined up all the way down the street until you can't see them anymore.
We come here to Skips. We start unfolding the flags to get them ready for the bikes when they pull up. The members of this chapter is just outstanding. Coming out every Memorial Day, helping when they could. They ran around serving coffee and donuts to all the riders, their family.
Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
We have people coming in from 200, 2,000 miles away, maybe even further.
We start the parade at 11 minutes after 9 o'clock in honor of the events of September 11, 2001.
Before that, though, at 8:30 in the morning, our color guard performs a ceremony. We do that twice. We do it here and at the event. It's the ultimate sacrifice ceremony.
These guys put out quite a precision drill in the morning. If you haven't seen it, it's something you've really got to watch.
Being with the color guard is probably one of the most proud things that you can do, and we always want to make everything perfect.
We start practicing as early as February every weekend.
These guys get up in the morning time, they come down here, they drill and they drill and they drill.
All of us on the color guard come on out here at Skips before they open and we practice. We set up our radio with the same presentation that we played during the West Coast Thunder ceremony.
It's very easy with the crew that we have. It really is. They do an excellent job.
They practice a tremendous amount of time, and when they perform here at the dealership at the starting point, it's a very moving event for everybody.
Even to this day, you get a chill before we start the ceremony. But once we start the ceremony, I'm very proud to say that we're working at that point in time, and we remain very, very focused. Our ceremony itself out in front of Skips, as an example, is only 15 minutes long, but for that 15 minutes, we want them to think about it.
First off, we're going to do a flag folding ceremony. So there'll be 3 gentlemen going out, and they'll conduct the flag folding in the morning.
We use a flag that draped the casket of the brother of one of our color guard members, and we talk about the 13 folds of the flag.
Soon after that, us color guard will all march out to the pad, and that's when we'll raise the flag for the morning.
If the flag's at half-mast, that means that we've lost somebody very important.
We have slow salutes, and we have Boy Scout comes out and blows taps for us.
He comes every year. He's great.
And then to Amazing Grace, we will erect the ultimate sacrifice.
The Boots rifle and helmet are a traditional symbol of a battlefield grave marker.
What we're doing is trying to symbolize for everyone else here in the U.S. that it's not just a rifle with a helmet. It's not just a pair of boots. These particular boots have seen combat. We use the M1 Grand, the rifle, and it has seen combat in World War II. Then we decided to get a current helmet. So we're trying to cover all of the wars, and hopefully we won't have any more to cover.
Watching the audience, it's phenomenal to see the emotion and the effects that it has.
It's just no way to actually explain how this day
apart, get on our motorcycles, and we have 28 motorcycles parked out front that lead the procession of West Coast Thunder through the Riverside National Cemetery.
Well, the parade route's, I think it's about 12 miles, I think, from here to the National Cemetery. And the parade is so long with so many motorcycles that the head of the parade is already parking their motorcycles at the cemetery long before the back of the parade ever leaves the event site here at Skips.
When we ride in the parade and we're going down the streets on our way to the Riverside National Cemetery, the streets are lined with thousands of people waving their flags and applauding.
I was overwhelmed. The pride that you see from the Riverside people, from the riders. You know, when you go up on the parade route and people have flags and banners and they're dressed in their uniforms.
And there's little tiny ones and they're waving the flag and they're saluting us.
And I'm sure that as we ride by, that these kids are asking their parents, hey, what's this all about? And then they can explain to them, this is a special day. This is for our heroes.
And just the community being out there for us. Because in my era, when we came back, it was not a positive reception.
I served during the Vietnam era. My eyes were wet all the way to the cemetery, seeing the people that responded. It makes you really feel warm that, you know, the United States does care.
I don't think there was a dry eye on one of those bikes that day.
We figure about 95 cents out of every dollar goes directly to the cause of which we're raising money, and that's the Riverside National Cemetery Support Committee.
What the support committee does is they erect memorials, such as the MIA POW memorial that's out there, the large statue. West Coast Thunder paid for a large portion of that.
We're the largest private fundraiser to donate to the Riverside National Cemetery.
Riverside National Cemetery is the third largest national cemetery in the nation. We consider the grounds of every national cemetery, wherever a veteran is resting, to be a national shrine. It's a place where all veterans are resting side by side, irregardless of branch of service or rank. It's all one big family. We're very fortunate that we have the memorials that we have, one of which is the National POW MIA Memorial. That represents 600,000 service members that were held as prisoners of war since the Revolution. And there's still 175,000 veterans who are missing in action. These are people that went off to war and their families would never know what happened to these people. Because of Skip Fordyce, because of the Harley Owners Group, and because of the folks from West Coast Thunder, we built the National POW MIA Memorial. You can't measure what they do in support of our veterans.
When we come rolling into the cemetery, I truly believe that they hear us, that sound. And, you know, it's amazing. When we do roll in there, it gets quiet.
It gives me a great pride to see what we have been able to do, both here and at the cemetery.
And when you're there, that calm that comes over you, you realize that though you miss them a lot, they didn't give their life in vain.